Welcome to Begin, Build, Blossom Your Business Journey, the podcast where we share valuable insights, resources, and motivation to fuel your entrepreneurial spirit. Let's build a supportive community together. Don't forget to subscribe or follow wherever you listen to podcasts and be part of this journey. Let's pause for a moment to hear from our sponsors. You've built a name for yourself through hard work and dedication, but does managing the business side feel like a distraction from your true passion? Are you dealing with unmanaged finances? CME Accounting LLC is here to help. We specialize in organizing your financial records, allowing you to focus on what you do best. With organized books, you'll have more time for what inspires you. Whether that's expanding your influence, building relationships, or simply enjoying life. Don't let unmanaged finances hold you back. Reach out to CME Accounting LLC today and let us help you thrive. Visit our website www.cmeaccountingllc.com or email us at admin@cmeaccountingllc.com. All right, let's jump back into our conversation.
Welcome to Begin, Build, Blossom Your Business Journey. Almost 2 years ago, this intro said, Welcome to Begin, Build, Blossom Your Business Journey with Clarita. Now we have Your Business Journey. The reason why? I am now a co-host, a permanent co-host with Begin, Build, Blossom. The name speaks to the expansion or the broadening of the scope of Begin, Build, Blossom. Today, we'll be having a bit of reflection with me because we don't have a guest, but I've taken the bold plunge with a little bit of trepidation to have some reflection on my joining Begin, Build, Blossom. I was super thrilled to join the family alongside my dear friend Clarita. How did we get started? That's a very good question. I recall listening to a couple of episodes and thinking, this is a really good podcast. How can I help Clarita to have more guests and to elevate the podcast? So I started to make a list of entrepreneurs in the United Kingdom where I now reside that could be interviewed on the podcast. I presented that list to Clarita and we had some challenges. And so one day having a conversation, I think when you would have heard our joint conversation where we explained a little bit more of how I came on board. And so from that list, here I am as a co-host. I'm super excited. In this reflection episode, we'll talk a bit about some prompts that I sent into ChatGPT, some prompts about who I am as a, what do we call it, a superhero or a public figure. And all of this was initiated from a speaking school that I formed part of. And the moderator, she asked those in the group a couple of questions. So we'll speak about that. We'll also speak about some firsts for me. I sat down and made a list, and guess what? I came up with 10 firsts for myself over the last, I would say, 6 to 12 months. And it was a really good exercise to just check to see some of the things that I've been doing, some of the opportunities that this podcast has presented, and how it has changed my life, how it has changed the way I interact at events, and so on. And I will also be giving you a little bit of, what would we say, a sneak peek or a sneak listen to how we'll be starting off our next season. We have a lot of exciting guests coming. So moving to the prompts. The first prompt that was placed into the AI, well, thanks to Clarita as well, I am using the AI a little more. Listen, it's been helping to speed up the process, but I certainly love to create my own text, to create my own messages, but it certainly helps to have quicker way of doing editing and reviews and prompts and suggestions in there. So if you have not tried it out, certainly you'd want to do so as well. So the first prompt that I put into the AI was, if I were a fictional character or a public figure, who would I be and why? The response was, my fictional character would be Hermione Granger from the Harry Potter series. Hermione is driven by knowledge, unwavering loyalty, and a strong moral compass. It concluded that I'm detail oriented, passionate about learning, and not afraid to speak up for what I believe is right, even when it's uncomfortable. That is very true. I can certainly agree to that. Hermione represents the power of intellect combined with passion. What I can say is, I did not know who Hermione was before this response came back to me. I have never watched the Harry Potter series. I've probably watched little snippets here and there, but I've never actually sat down to watch an entire show. Let's just say it's not my kind of thing. But her characteristics certainly reflect the person that I am. Now, the public figure that I can relate to. And the public figure was Michelle Obama. Why? It said her ability to balance grace, strength, and advocacy is inspiring. She uses her platform to empower others, particularly women and young people, and does so with authenticity and purpose. She transforms challenges into opportunities for leadership and connections. I can definitely live with that. And I can definitely say that this description also espouse the person that I am. And these are values that I try to practice in my work and, or we would say, values I like to practice in my professional and personal relationships. So I asked the AI, having those kind of response and feedback that seem to match the person that I am, I started to ask a little more questions. So I got curious. So I said, if I were a superhero, which superhero would I be? And the response was Storm from X-Men. It says that Storm is a powerful, poised leader who commands respect not just because of her abilities, but because of her wisdom, empathy, and calm strength under pressure. She balances immense power with grace and leads with a deep sense of responsibility and justice. I can certainly speak to that. So, in considering the description of Storm, I could say that I often find myself in spaces where I have to navigate competing interests, bring people together, and rise above challenges with clarity and intention. So, Storm's ability to shift the atmosphere, literally and metaphorically, in some ways reflect how I approach leadership with a steady presence, a focus on transformation, and a belief in empowering others to rise. So far, I must say that ChatGPT is getting it right. Now, I'm playing a little bit more. I figure, okay, this superhero story is getting interesting. What if I had to be a diplomatic superhero? Guess what? I would be Black Panther. Can you believe it? I'm excited. So, specifically, it says that I would be King T'Challa. It says that King T'Challa is not only a superhero, but a statesman. He balances power with diplomacy, tradition with innovation, and national identity with global responsibility. It concluded that I, Angela Sindenis, see leadership as more than authority. It's about serving with vision, listening deeply, and forging respectful alliances across borders and cultures. I absolutely agree with that. Anybody who knows me will know that I'm very fascinated with various cultures and learning how they operate and how they connect and how they build community and how that helps them to grow as a society, whether it's in work or in personal life. It also says that his ability to lead Wakanda with dignity while engaging thoughtfully in the world stage mirrors how I approach work. Now, you know what? Sometimes the AI says what it wants, it writes what it wants, and you really have to put it in a way that reflects who you are. So it's something that I've learned myself in using it, and I think as people utilizing it, we need to know that the AI can help us along. It can help to make our work more efficient, but we're still required to make it work. After all, it's a machine. So those were my prompts. I used these prompts, or rather, I took these prompts as a way of learning more about myself. And in doing that, there was some strengths that I discovered that I never really give much thought to. And those strengths were, or rather, those strengths are calm under pressure. I don't know if it always happens. Clarity in communication, I try my best. Unconscious leadership, definitely yes. Emotional intelligence, reliability without noise. So when we look at these different characteristics, I would say the description says even when chaos hits, people might admire how you maintain composure. You don't panic easily, which helps others feel more grounded around you, even if you don't notice it yourself. I don't notice it myself. Sometimes I'm like a duck paddling, but I'm always looking for solutions. So I guess I can agree with that. Clarity in communication. It said you may take it for granted, but your ability to explain complex ideas clearly or make people feel understood is rare. Colleagues or friends might rely on you to translate confusion into clarity. That is true. If I think about it, I do have a friend who, anytime there's something that comes up and she wants to know for sure, she always sends it to me and says, "Is this for real? Do you think this is the truth or is it fake?" So, yes. Now, the third one is unconscious leadership. You might not see yourself as a leader. Well, that's a little inaccurate. I do see myself as a leader, but others may naturally follow your example, which in a lot of cases is true. When I attend meetings or I'm in group work, I normally end up being the leader without trying because I ask a lot of questions and I always try to make contributions. So it says your quiet confidence or the way you take initiative can influence more than you realize. Emotional intelligence. You likely pick up on the moods or needs of others quickly, subtle cues, energy shifts, or unspoken tension. I kind of do that, you know. People may seek you out when they need someone who just gets it. That's true. Thinking about it, yeah. Well, sometimes I don't think I'm the most emotionally intelligent, but I try my best. Now, the fifth strength, the fifth surprising strength I've discovered is reliability without noise. It says you're probably seen as dependable in a way that doesn't call attention to yourself. People know they can count on you, even if you don't always recognize how deeply they appreciate it. That's one I can wholeheartedly agree. I like to be reliable. So, this is the segment where I learned a bit about myself using the AI. So, thank you for Speak with Confidence for helping with that. I'm grateful. So, I would suggest, listeners, you could try that out yourself. See what comes back to you. Also, I think the exchanges that are stored in AI gives you a much better, or I think we can say a more accurate result. Because if you don't have any kind of engagement, I feel like whatever the response will be may not reflect as much of you as you might want to. So these are things to consider. So moving to that second section, my reflections on firsts. So a lot of firsts have occurred for me within the last 6 to 12 months. And in sitting down and writing it down as I started making the list, more and more popped into head. But these are the ones that came to mind straight away. And the first one, guess what? The first one is my first solo episode interviewing someone on Begin Bill Blossom. I was not, I mean, should be told, I was not, I was a bit nervous because this is a new area. Will the recording work? How will I sound? Will I be able to interview the people? I mean, I had a quiet confidence, but I was still a bit nervous. So my first solo episode was with Sylvester Herman of Island Slice. And it was an accidental first solo episode because Clarita and I was supposed to record it together. And as the episode went along, my dear friend said, "Why don't you continue along?" And so hence that became my first episode. I became a lot more comfortable. More importantly, that episode was really fun and exciting, and we spent a lot of time before and after online in the studio. So it worked out very well. So thank you, Sylvester. Now, the next first, which is also associated with this podcast, is my first in person solo episode interview. This one came about, I guess we could say, a little bit from my professional network. And the guest is Winston Branch. Winston Branch is a well known painter. He is also a professor. He's a son of St. Lucia soil, St. Lucian born, very St. Lucian in every way. This is how we'll be ending this season. Our first in person, it'll be colorful, it'll be bright, it'll be exciting. So make sure you join us at the end of July for that. Our next verse is I was a guest on a panel. Yes. I didn't think that I had anything to contribute to this particular panel. I mean, I always look at people on panels having panel discussion or doing TED Talks or doing those kinds of presentation. And while I envision myself being able to do such, I never really thought of it being possible. I know it sounds funny, doesn't it? But yes, I never thought of it being possible. But I had my first panel. I was one of three guests speaking about navigating career transitions as a Black woman. This panel discussion became possible because of yet another first where I made a contribution to a publication entitled Navigating Crossroads, a Black Woman's Guide to Career Transitions and Leadership. Within this publication, there are contributions from women from different sectors and fields speaking to their experiences, whether it be transitioning from, well, for me specifically, I would say I spoke about transitioning from the private sector to the public sector, from the public sector to diplomacy, also moving from a small island to a bigger island, or we could say a bigger city. So all of these things contributed to the navigating crossroads. And so if you have not heard about it, just do a search and you can find it. Another first is I joined the Rotary Club of the Caribbean Plus, or had the distinct honor of being one of 34, I believe it was, charter members. And my dear friend Clarita, I told her about the Rotary Club of the Caribbean Plus, and she didn't even ask for any details. I told her, I think this will be a good club for you. It'll be a good club for me. Let's get started. So she jumped on board. She didn't ask me how much. She didn't ask what she had to do and so on. And that's the level of trust that we have with each other. And so we are charter members of the Rotary Club of Caribbean Plus. It is a Rotary Club, but it's an e-club that allows members, or rather citizens from the Caribbean who live abroad, or even if they live in the Caribbean as well, to make a contribution. We meet every month virtually, at least twice a month, to discuss projects, to discuss things happening, and we've had a lot of really great activities. So you could do a search for Rotary Club of the Caribbean Plus. And I'm also the public image director of the club.
Let's pause for a moment to hear from our sponsors. You've built a name for yourself through hard work and dedication, but does managing the business side feel like a distraction from your true passion? Are you dealing with unmanaged finances? CME Accounting LLC is here to help. We specialize in organizing your financial records, allowing you to focus on what you do best. With organized books, you'll have more time for what inspires you. Whether that's expanding your influence, building relationships, or simply enjoying life. Don't let unmanaged finances hold you back. Reach out to CME Accounting LLC today and let us help you thrive. Visit our website www.cmeaccountingllc.com or email us at admin@cmeaccountingllc.com. All right, let's jump back into our conversation.
Ah, and the list continues. Another big first was planning and coordinating my first ever big event, which was a Caribbean and African food fair that was held in London. This was done in collaboration with two friends. The idea came from my friend had a mini food fair last year, and so I said to her, "Why not let's do this in the summer when it's warm and everybody wants to be outside?" And it was going to be a Caribbean fair, and then we added African and Caribbean so we can have a fusion. And I must say, kudos to all the vendors. They came out, they showed up. Um, While the attendance was not what we would have liked it to be, we had over 150 patrons coming through the venue, and they generally had a good time. So we will be looking out to planning another one next year. So look out for that. Another first was I attended the UK Black Business Conference. I think I'd heard about it before, but never had the opportunity to attend. And this year I had that privilege, and I was so honored to be among really inspiring and authentic Black business people, hearing stories of perseverance, of determination, of commitment, of community, and just having a dream and sticking to it. There were lots of inspiring stories, and I certainly hope that I can bring to the podcast some of those speakers who were at that conference. So if you're in London, if you're in the UK, or if you'll be around, just check out the UK Black Business Conference and see how you can be part of it next year. Moving along the list of first, I had the opportunity to attend the King's Trust Awards 2025 at the Royal Festival Hall in London. I've always heard of the Royal Festival Hall. I've always heard of awards or shows being held there. But to be there, to pass on the red carpet, to see the red carpet, I was in the audience along with George Clooney and his wife and lots of other popular British actors and actresses and public figures. And what was significant about that awards is that St. Lucia, for the first time, had a winner at those awards as well. The King's Trust, which previously was the Princess Trust, has a program in St. Lucia that helps to, I would say, build up our disadvantaged youth who may be challenged in the south of the island and give them opportunities to develop their public speaking skills, their employability skills, their communication skills. And so one of the young ladies who participated in that program, I believe her name was Roslyn. She won this prize. They flew her to London, took her to many different and new experiences, and on the stage at the Royal Festival Hall, she received her award. And so it was a real privilege to just be in the audience and to be part of that celebration. Another first, which maybe it's not, you know what, it is a good first. It's a first of going to a professional football academy. I've had the opportunity to see Chelsea's academy in Chubum. That's how they pronounce it, Chubum or Chugum. You know what? We'll just say in Chelsea's academy, wherever it's located, just outside of London. I've had the opportunity to go to Tottenham Hotspurs in London's training academy. I've also had the opportunity to go to Brighton Football Club. And all of this has been possible because I'm supporting someone's football dream, my son. And it's just exciting to see how these facilities operate, to see all the young boys and girls who are pursuing that football passion. And I say, go for it. Be determined, stay the course, and surround yourself with others aim better than you or where you're aiming to be. So that was the first. And I always said, sometimes I look at the big shows. So, for instance, it might be Taylor Swift, it might be John Legend, it might be Beyonce, or one of these big artists. And I had the opportunity to be in the Bayhive, as they say, to witness a performance. And I enjoyed it. I cannot lie. It was a very entertaining show. It was a lot of sing-along music. I could relate to the music. I could have sang along to most of the music, and I really enjoyed it. So I would definitely recommend, if you haven't taken in a show like that, try to get one in. The atmosphere, regardless of where your seat is, just being in that space, just having that experience would bring something to you. It's just a vibe. It's just an energy. I also was just fascinated by all the outfits and the decorations and the bling. I tried to bling myself, but I didn't quite succeed. And just by taking up an opportunity, we were able to move from a regular seating into the player's box. So we got to see the show up close and personal. And all because I took on the opportunity. My friend wasn't keen, but you know what? They will not offer us tickets that are less than what we have. And so said, so done. So we had an up close and personal view of Beyonce performing with her magnificent band. It was a very theatrical performance. Just the organization, the display, the entertainment, and I guess you could say, the inclusivity of the show. So that. Now, another first is I attended a comedy show. I've been wanting to attend a comedy show forever, but never actually did it, never went. And so I started following this Jamaican comedian called Dale Elliott Jr., and I find him funny. He makes me laugh. It's very relatable. He speaks a lot about the Caribbean experience. It's the Jamaican experience, but guess what? It's the Caribbean experience. And so I said to myself, if he's coming to London, I will go see him. And that I did. He was in my neck of the woods. So I got a ticket. A friend was supposed to come along. Unfortunately, she fell ill and she wasn't able to join me. But I went along to that show and I enjoyed it. It was laugh from beginning to end. The opening act, as well as Dale himself, were very entertaining. Dale Jr., that is, because there is a senior. It was entertaining. It was full of laughs. I could say I laughed and tears came down my eyes. So that was proper laughing. And this occurred on the same day that I attended the King's Trust Awards. So I was running across London to get to this show on time. And let's just say there was a little Caribbean time happening. So that worked in my favor. So we're moving along the list. It seems like a long list. When Clarita asked me to do this solo episode, I didn't think I was going to have anything to say. But so far, I seem to be saying a lot, haven't I? And I'm not done with my first yet. So, another first was I had never heard about raffia before. And I got an invitation from a lovely young lady called Tiara Smith. She's of St. Lucian descent. She's British born and she is inspired by her St. Lucian heritage. And so I attended this workshop where I got to make a nice, it looks like embroidery, but just go search it up. You could check out tiara.smith.com and you can see what it is. If you're in London, you can book one of her sessions. And it was so relaxing. It was fun. It's a small group, so it's not a very big group, so you can interact with everyone. We can laugh about the colors we decide to use. It was a small group, an interactive group, and we were laughing so much about the errors we were making, the colors we were mixing together, and just the whole approach. But at the end of that session, we were relaxed and we had a creation to take home, and now we can display it proudly. So, next season, I will be having Tiara as a guest. So you'll hear more about her designs, you'll hear more about Raffia, and you'll hear more about her and what is her inspiration. So I can say, is a guest on she'll be a guest in our next season. So I'm going to bring the list of firsts to an end. And I think we were on about 12 or 13. When I started making the list, I only had 5. And now we're counting. But I will end with a public speaking course that I did. And this was all from encouragement. So if there's one thing with Clarita, for a whole year, she was saying to me, Angela, I think you should do this course. I think it'll be well for you or it'll help you along. So I thought to myself, you know what? I do a lot of public speaking. Do I really need to do it? But this year I took the plunge. It was a lot of late nights. I took the plunge and I participated in that program. It's called Speak with Confidence. And I must say, while I would say that I'm a confident speaker, this program helped me to focus on other factors that I didn't consider when speaking. It helped me to be more intentional about the things I say, how I say it, when I say it, and the mode of delivery. There was so much to be had. So that is another first. And we'll end here today for the first. So you can go back and listen to it. But what I would say is think about the things that you've done maybe in the last 6 months. Make a list. Because if you try to do it mentally, there's no way you will be able to come up with it. You'll think to not that it's no way, but you'll think to yourself, I haven't done anything different. There's nothing I've done for the first time, which is kind of what I thought as well. But looking back, I was able to generate this list, and I'm sure there are others that I can speak to that were not mentioned. There are other things that were not mentioned in this episode. Now, I wanted to touch on something before I close, which is there are a couple of things that made these first possible. We don't always think about it. And I will enumerate them as three things. One is community, whether it be personal or professional, friendship, quality friendship, or relationship. We can call it that. We can call it relationship. We can call it friendship. And just personal intention and a deliberate effort to engage. I say this from experience because all of these firsts have been possible either from a personal or professional relationship within my community or because I was intentional and I could connect. So, for instance, the Black Business Conference I attended because of Sylvester from Island Slice. The Caribbean and African Food Fair was because of a friendship that I've grown over some time. The Bayhive experience was because of a friendship through my son, through football, and someone that I've known and built up a relationship with over the last 3 years. So when she had this extra ticket, she just sent me a message and say, "Hey, do you want to go to a Beyonce concert?" I'm saying this to say that no man is an island. We all need to connect in one way or the other. And you may not be able to accomplish all the things you want to do on your own. But there may be somebody who's doing it, someone who's done it, or someone who's in the process of doing it, which is the main tenet of the podcast in helping to persons who want to get into business or persons who are thinking about business to hear from others who've done similar to what they may be interested in, or someone who have principles that could be applied across professions, across fields, across industries. At the same time, you should also be intentional and deliberate. Sometimes it's hard, especially when you live in a big country, life is busy, work is busy, family is busy, everything is busy. But you have to be intentional about what it is that you want to do. And you also have to seek out support or associate with people who will push you. And so that's what I found for myself. Listening to the Navigating Career Transitions is a good show to listen to as well. That helps if you're thinking about changing careers, you're thinking about business, you're thinking about just change altogether or just general principles. You can learn from there. So I think I want to bring this segment to a close where I spoke about those three factors. So remember, community is important, quality relationships are important, and being intentional and deliberate about the things that you want to do is very important. And seek out those who support you. So that's it, really, on my reflections. The podcast has brought a new energy for me. It has brought me into this media space, which I'm absolutely grateful for. I'm grateful to Clarita for having this idea because this was her brainchild. And I was just very excited about helping her along. And now I'm just even more thrilled to be part of the family and to help to push along. We will be having merchandise soon. So you can have your Begin Build Blossom, whether it be your mug, your notebook, your pen, or your tote bag, or even your hoodie or your jumper. So look out for that in the next season. As we come to a close, I thank you for joining me on this solo time. I don't know, maybe I was rambling on, who knows? But I didn't think I could speak for this long. But I want to thank you for spending time with me in this reflection episode. I want to say very special thanks to all the supporters of myself and Clarita and of the podcast. Thank you for your feedback. Thank you for taking the time to listen in, for liking and subscribing. I want to make special mention, and these are people who've reached out to me and say they listen. To Alwyn, who is one of our club members in the Rotary Caribbean Plus. She's a subscriber. She always listens. Also, I want to say thanks to Clarita, thanks to Travis, my Jamaican buddy, Kenisha, my friend from childhood, my mother, of course, the best mommy in the world, always very supportive. If there's one thing I could say about my mother is, as a child growing up, she never imposed what she wanted me to be. She always said, whatever you want to be, my child, you can do it. Even when I was struggling to think of career paths or what I want to do, she said, whatever you want to do. She never said what it is I should be doing. And she's always been supportive. My friend Lauren, who always listens and gives feedback as well. And I want to say thank you to all those who haven't given us the feedback yet. We're looking forward to hearing from you. And we'd love for you to like and subscribe. Please, that is how we're going to help to grow the podcast. Also, give us feedback. Give a comment. What did you like about the episode? What would you like to hear more of? Is there a guest you think we should try to get? We don't mind. We can try. Nothing beats a try. Just to give you a little sneak peek, in our next season, we will be starting off with an incomparable writer, a creator. He's a son of St. Lucia soil. It will also be the first time we'll be starting off the next season with a video interview. So look out for that. It'll be very exciting. It was confirmed today. So I'm looking forward to that interview. Also, we are ending the season with our in-person with Winston Branch. So make sure you join us. Last week, you would have heard the joint conversation, joint reflection between myself and Clarita. So I hope you enjoy that. If you have not heard it yet, make sure to go back and listen. So we're at the end of my music and reflections. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but I hope you listen. I hope that you were able to take away some kind of nugget, some kind of encouragement to bring back to your life and to encourage you. Look forward to the next season. We're going to have a blast. We are going to bring even newer guests. We're going to bring guests to share even more information, more inspiration. So listen, share, follow, like, and subscribe. Until next time, this is Angela Sindanes, co-host of Begin, Build, Blossom, your business journey. Look forward to seeing you in the next season. Thank you. Bye for now.
Thanks for listening to Begin, Build, Blossom, your business journey. We hope today's conversation gave you the insights and inspiration you need to move forward on your own path. Don't forget to subscribe or follow wherever you get your podcast so you never miss an episode. Do you have feedback? We'd love to hear from you at podcast@cmeaccountingllc.com. Join us again next week for a new episode.